My name is Elizabeth Hadley, and I'm a professor of biology at Stanford University. So creativity is, I think, fundamental to science, and it's one of those things that as scientists we often just kind of get caught up in our facts. But the reality is most people are scientists because they love what they do. They're curious. Their minds are creative. That's how you pose hypotheses. That's how you come up with tests of your hypotheses. That's how you come up with some sort of experiment in the lab. That's how you go out and collect things to try and identify what they are. All of that is driven by curiosity. And curiosity, to really work well, curiosity is underlain by creativity. So creativity fuels us as scientists. And one of the things that happens, I think, is some of us stop there. We end up with our facts, we kind of collect our information, and then we stop. We produce this in a very scientific way. But I think creativity is also really important in expressing what we found out. That's why this game, Go Extinct, is really neat, because not only is it kind of fun to play, it's easy to learn, and it's actually an expression of some really good scientific evidence. Scientists use evolutionary trees to create relationships between species. So the evolutionary tree is a hypothesis, how species A is related to species B, but it's tested with all sorts of information: genetic information, morphological information, information from the fossil record, and the traits that species possess. Right now, it's really important for all of us to understand not just about the diversity of life, but how the diversity of life is related to each other. It turns out that some species are really ancient lineages. There are species all around the world that are just the last remnant of their large group, their large family of organisms. And those species are in some ways very special to us. And if we didn't understand how those relics were related to the rest of living organisms, we might not value them in the same way. And so whether or not we make the decision to really try and preserve those species, that's up to what people decide they want to do. But it's important to know what kinds of things we might lose, i.e. very long periods of evolutionary time, the very unique, special parts of these species that are relics. It's important for us to know that before we make the decisions to preserve something or not. Go Extinct is a really nice way to learn about evolutionary trees and just evolution in general, because it's fun to play, and because by playing this game you understand, for example, how Stegosaurus might be related to a salamander. So seemingly they both have 4 legs. That turns out to be an important trait, but there are lots of things that differ between these two species. And so this particular game, Go Extinct, allows you to figure out what those relationships are without really knowing.